Hey, what's up, guys? This is my second video on my road to a 315-pound bench press, which is 3 plates. And so far, so good as far as the progression curve is going. And I want to give you guys an update because the last video was about 2 weeks ago. Okay, and I made a video on the other day, how to increase your weight on a particular lift. So I recommend watching that one as well. I'll revisit some of the principles on how I'm doing it in this particular lift. And so essentially how I've been starting this training block. So I'm a month into the training block, coming up to the end of April here. And I've been just sticking with 5x5 method, and then incrementally increasing weight, so progressive overload, adding 10 or, and then as the weight increased, 5 pounds every week essentially. So I was doing 5x5s, and up until I was doing like 235 pounds roughly. Okay, so, and to be honest, that 235 pounds on the last two, I could only do it like 3 times, so I could not do it a 5x5 with 235 pounds, but that's okay. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is where I'm going to go from here on, because I'm about to shift gears from first gear to second gear, so to speak, into the second month of this 4-month training block, specifically targeting the bench press. So what I did is calculated what my max would be without actually doing my max, because I don't want to snap some shit up. Like I don't want to have to push myself that hard right now if I don't have to be honest. I want to be building strength, and doing max isn't building strength. So how to calculate that is a pretty well-known formula, which is what's called the Epley formula. And essentially what you do is whatever weight you pick a weight, right? So for me, I picked 245 pounds, which I believe is like my max I could do for like for 5 reps. So the weight, 245 pounds, times the reps, so that's 5, and then times 0.03333. So you get that number, and then you add the weight on top of that. So I believe it came to 280 something pounds. I forget, I did it a few days ago. Anyway, so I determined roughly what my max would be, okay, without actually doing it. So today, since it's the end of my first month training cycle, instead of doing 5x5s, I did singles, and I worked my way up to what I believe was like approximately, approaching the 80% mark of my max. Okay, so I did like 255 pounds. To be honest, I don't know if that's exactly 80, but I just went to 255, just racked that up, and then I was doing singles with that, no problem. It was almost too easy, which means that this Epley formula to determine the max is pretty accurate, which means that for me, the 255 was just, I moved it like nothing. So that means that at least that 280 pound, whatever it was, based on the formula, I think is accurate. And that means that 315 pounds, I believe, is within reach in the next few months. So, yay. So how am I going to do so? Okay. So a combination of continuing with the 5x5, but then as well doing like more lower reps with more weight as well, and kind of that's how I'm going a progressive overload in the second month. But not every time I go to the gym to work bench press, I'm going to do that. I'm going to alternate days, and this is what I mentioned in my how to increase your strength video the other day, is increase strength, rotate strength days, and then do like a back day, and then come back and do another push day, but just do volume, hit like pec press for like 20 reps and shoulder press for 20 reps at a time, and triceps and things. and then take a few days off. Then increase. Maybe there's a rest day in between there somewhere as well. Do leg day, etc. Then come back and then do the heavy one again. So there's going to be at least 5 to 7 days between doing the heavy push days, which will give myself recovery time, and then as well just build overall strength in some of the accessory movements, such as more triceps as well, and do that for 2 weeks. And then after doing the 2 weeks of bench presses, alternate the days as I just described, take a week and then do no bench press and do other things like focusing on maybe heavier pec flies or heavier tricep extensions, and then come back the next week to do it. That's why I explained that all in a video before, and that's how I'm going to continue into the second month, into the third month. Still undetermined, but I'm probably going to obviously progressive overload still. I think 5x5 is a good way to build strength all around. I might just continue with that, but as well do like, again, lower reps, maybe some singles more, because I really want to do heavier singles to get the technique down. Like, I already got the technique down with lighter weight, but when you're pushing heavier weight, sometimes the technique goes out the window, right? And that's when you can injure yourself or, not perform the lift correctly. So I'm going to, really work on that, and as well film myself with the heavier weight, make sure like my biomechanics is ideal for me anyway. And so that's all the training side of things, which is, I think, 285 pounds. I think I could push that today, to be honest. And that's only another 30 pounds. And I got a few months to do so. So I think it's doable. As long as I don't snap shit up and hurt myself. So the other thing, so training aside, the steroids now, because I am taking steroids, is I'm going to do 2 things. Well, first of all, my Anavar that the supply I have is coming to an end, so I might leave that for now, and I might come back to Anavar in that last month, because that'll really help me push that last month. But I don't want to continue doing Anavar the whole time, because you shouldn't be doing orals for that long, right? So I might take a break from the Anavar, but increase the NPP a notch, which I'm kind of hesitant to, but I think it's necessary for the strength. But I just don't want to run into anxiety in the sides that I've experienced before. But the good thing with NPP is, since it's a shorter ester, I can, if I do run into issues, I can pull back and should be fine. Within a few days, within a week, I should be okay. So, but we'll see. First sign of any anxiety and things, I don't know. I really don't want to go there. I don't want to create problems, like especially from girlfriend and things like that, or job, or something happens like that, right? And I have roid rage or do something. But I think it's necessary for this goal. So I'm going to increase just a tick on the syringe, every injection, just another tick up on my NPP. So it's like 1/10 of a milliliter more a week, whatever that works out to, an extra 50 or 100 a week. So I'll do that. I'm not going to increase test, although maybe in the last month, towards the end, I will. Like the last 3 weeks, I might increase the testosterone a bit to really get my levels high, like blood serum concentrations high. I don't know though. Maybe not even that. Maybe I'll just stick with the Anavar. Really does the trick to build strength and intensity. So I might just stick with that. Well, that's undetermined at the moment. But what I will do next month, starting the 1st, is increase my NPP dosage up. That's that. What else should I mention? Food intake, just eating like a caloric surplus to a degree, but without getting too fat. But I am putting on some significant weight. I know I can see it, but it's what I believe is necessary for this specific goal. So that's that. Other than that, I really don't know what else to talk about. Anybody have any recommendations as far as like everything that I mentioned? That's my overall strategy in doing so, because this would be like a literal benchmark for me. If I could reach that 3 plates, that'd be something I never thought a few years ago I'd be able to do. And now it's within sight. It's within reach. I'm moving in that direction, and keeping everything on point, keep my training on point, my food, my gear usage on point. Yeah, it's definitely moving in that direction. So, whatever direction you're moving, you're going to get there at some point, right? And so as long as I'm inching towards that week after week, I'll get there. But I think the safest way to do so is I'll stick with the 5x5 for the most part, and then just keep progressive overloading that 5x5. And then maybe once every few weeks, I'll go test my 80% again. You know what I mean? Test that 80% using that Epley formula to determine what my max is, and then do 80% of that, and then do singles with that. Because if you do like 5 to 10 singles at 80%, you're still getting good workout in, but you're getting your form right with heavier weight than what you're used to. So there's something to that as well, I believe, without going to injure yourself by pushing too much too often. So I'll leave it there, guys. What are your thoughts on my strategy? Leave it in the comments section below. Thanks everybody who has commented for your support and feedback and advice. Really appreciate that. Peace.